I'm going to try to keep this civil as much as I can. But it's going to be difficult and challenging when you hear the reasoning. The reason why Shemar Stewart isn't signed yet and isn't under contract is because he wants more money than the Bengals are willing to offer for his training camp bonus. I want you to kind of take that in, right? Seethe on that knowledge that you just got. He wants more money in a training camp bonus, and that's the reason why he hasn't signed yet. Yeah, you can't make this up. You actually can't make this up. That is such a small, little minuscule thing at the end of the day. At first, it was thought that, like, maybe he's actually, holding out because of guaranteed money in his contract. He wants more guaranteed money right away rather than later on, which didn't really make any sense because most first-round draft picks, their contracts are pretty much concrete. Like, they go in the league and they're automatically going to have a certain contract structure, and most things are already set up, and most rookies just automatically accept that. But yeah, no, this is really just based on training camp bonuses, which again, training camp is your time to go with the team, start working out, start, participating, show how good you are, but also be able to kind of learn the system. I understand players get bonuses during training camp, but it really isn't meant to be a situation where you go there to make money. You're really going there to learn your team. You're going there to be better as a team. Man, this money situations are so frustrating. And again, I understand it is very important that he gets the money he wants as a bonus. But man, just go and work out. Stop this crap. Stop this crap of, well, I can't go work out because I'm not getting paid this amount of money on my bonus. This isn't even a contract situation anymore. This isn't like, oh, well, he doesn't, the certain money he wants per year. No, his whole contract is done with. Absolutely done with. Now this is coming down to a bonus. A bonus in training camp, which I'm assuming can't be that much. I mean, obviously, yes, if a player misses training camp, they will get fined, and that could actually be a pretty good chunk of change. We know that because Zach Taylor recently texted Trey Hendrickson and told him, hey, you better go to training camp or else we're going to dock you pay. Actually, not training camp. He said the OTAs. But still, I'm sure it's a decent amount of money. But then also, and I'm going to look at this on both sides here, you also look at it on the other side. Cincinnati, front office. What are you doing? Really? How much is he asking for? This is why we need to know numbers. And they never tell us numbers. And I get it. This stuff is private. But I want to know numbers. Because how much is he asking for in his bonus in training camp that you're like, oh, we're not going to pay you that. Like, at the end of the day, what's the number? Because unless he's asking for something ridiculous, I said this before, Trey Hendrickson situation, sometimes you might not want to pay the player that much, but you just want to get this over with so you can just move on to something else and focus on other things that are very important. And kind of like the Trey Hendrickson situation, I know Cincinnati, the front office goes off principle, not really logic at times, but just get it over with. Just get it done, As long as it's a reasonable ask, you don't have to go back and forth and fight the guy over pennies, okay? But, yeah. This is interesting. So, according to Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, first round, Shemar Stewart hasn't joined the team because of the dispute over the training camp bonus. Cincinnati isn't in a position to be stubborn, but it's best pass rusher who's coming off an all-pro campaign. Again, this is another thing that got leaked by Mike Florio. We talked about this a couple days ago, but yeah, this is the Bengals front office, okay? When you see Mike Florio from now on, replace that with the Bengals front office. Mike Florio recently had a leak and found out, hey, the Bengals offered Trey Hendrickson $28 million per year. That was randomly leaked after Trey had his process where he talked to the media. Mike Florio is just going to be the Bengals front office leaking stuff. We see the same thing with some other people. Ian Rappaport leaked some things, which again, Trey did shoot down very quickly. But anytime you see these like insiders, I call them, I guess that's what they're called. It's the front office saying, hey, listen, let's just go ahead and get some info out there so fans understand and fans aren't going down our throats here and getting pissed at the front office. Which, again, it takes two to tango. This situation is not all on Shemar Stewart. It is on the front office to a certain degree. But here's what I'll say, right? My last point, because it's my last point here. This is why certain free agents, when they hit free agency, they're not going to want to sign with Cincinnati. And it's not because they don't want to go play with Joe Burrow. It's not because they don't want to play with our coaches. It's because of this negotiation tactics. This, hey, I'm going to not sign you or I'm not going to give you the money you want because I don't want to. Not because, we can work back and forth and get to a good number. I gave you a number that I want and I'm not going to budge on it. I'm not going to give you any more money than what I want to give you. Like, oh, man. It deters free agents from wanting to come to Cincinnati because they don't want to deal with this. You want to deal with a front office, a team that's going to give you, ways to work back and forth and figure things out. This is not the culture you want when it comes to trying to get big free agent names. And so far, over the last 2 years, our free agency classes have not been good. Had a couple good guys, but for the majority, it has not worked out. Because at the end of the day, the only people who come here seems to be people who are either on 1-year contracts or 2-year contracts. Geno Stone, 2-year contract. Zach Moss, 2-year contract. Irv Smith, 1-year contract. Sheldon Rankins, he was on a 2-year contract. Like, this is why. Because no one's going to want to sign a multi-year deal if it's this frustrating to deal with the front office. You need to be able to have a conversation, and training camp bonuses should be, okay, how much do you want? Here's what we're going to do, and then get it done. This shouldn't be the draft happened in the end of April, and we're now at the end of May, and the thing we're hung up on is such a small, minuscule thing at the end of the day. In the grand scheme of things, it's a small, little thing. Get it done. Who day?